It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you.
Mic check.
We intend to give you a very fine
Mic
program,
check.
so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Good morning. December 2nd? December snuck up on me. What up? There's a lot going on as y'all join me here on Twitch, or if you're watching later, how you doing? If you're watching live, what's up? Good morning. Say good morning in the chat. Show me a thumbs up. Hey, L Cool J, where you at on the map? Where you wanna tell me? You don't have to disclose everything. Where you at? We're gonna actually start off in your wheelhouse, or we're gonna start off in an area of interest where I think you'd probably appreciate. Who's Solo Dolo? Is it Solo Dolo? No, Solo Dola. Dolala. What's up? Yeah, home. Cool. What's up, little mama? Missed you yesterday. Hey, Megzy. Yeah, so we're gonna start. We're gonna focus today's live stream. What's up, y'all? For those who don't know me, if you're watching live, watching later on YouTube or on videos on demand on Twitch, my name is mikagadsden. What's up, Rugby? What's up, Denise? All right, my name is mikagadsden. This is Mic'd Up in the Morning with mikagadsden. Y'all might call it. Everyone calls it a podcast. I need to lead into it. I stopped recording the audio version of Mic'd Up, which I wanted to bring something different, and I will. But the rigors of producing 5 live streams a week plus audio podcasts was a little bit tough on me. Plus the listenership kept going down. So I'm trying to figure out whether I just need to make this the podcast. I don't know yet. It's a visual live stream, so it doesn't always translate, and I would hate to have people just listening to 2 hours of or even if I edit it down, but I would hate to have people listen to just a bunch of content that is basically us pouring over written and video news and all that other stuff. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. We were going to focus heavily on this subject matter, but to be honest, y'all, excuse me. To be honest, there's so much news that broke. I'm gonna switch up real quick. There's so much news that broke yesterday, this week. I wasn't ignoring it. I try to keep things focused on this area or whomever I'm interviewing, focused on, the content I usually present has a specific focus. But there's been so much news, so much things regarding so many things breaking around Roe versus Wade. We're going to get into that. The Omicron variant here locally. We're going to get into that a little bit. So much has been going on, like almost too much, and I got about 2 hours to try to break it down as best as I can. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a quick. We're going to start off with a news roundup. We're going to start with some late breaking news, something that's not specific to Charleston, but I want to bring it up. I want to talk about, hold on a second. I'm just trying to look it up first before I switch the camera back to the screen. It's good to see y'all though. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you. Yesterday I've been having a lot of fun this week. And while all of this is typically fun for me, I was dragging ass coming from, taking so many days off last week, coming into this week. I was dragging ass a lot, but I think that the support and y'all's enthusiasm, y'all's feedback, y'all's text messages, y'all's emails, new Patreon subscribers, y'all editing y'all Patreon, like just been overwhelmed by a lot of the generosity, and I want to just acknowledge it, right? So let's go ahead and switch up. Let's get into the news. So thank you. Trying to move with a space of gratitude, right? So one big news announcement, which we all saw coming. If you a Stacey Abrams stan, you already know. So I'm trying to figure out where I want to watch the ad. Guess we can watch it here. Let's see what.
I think you'd make a really good.
Let's see if this is the full ad. But then we're going to hop over to Twitter and see if this is the full. But somebody announced that they're running for governor from one of our neighboring sister states.
I think he'd make a really good governor. All you gotta do is stay tough and stay brave.
Thank you.
Voting rights activist Stacey Abrams announced on Wednesday that she is running again.
We're going to look at her video in a second.
The move could set up a potential rematch against Republican Governor Brian Kemp in a state that has become a key battleground in U.S. elections. Abrams touted the need for change in a new campaign ad.
Opportunity and success in Georgia shouldn't be determined by your zip code, background, or access to power.
Go ahead, girl.
But if our Georgia is going to move to its next and greatest chapter, we're going to need leadership.
The 47-year-old former member of the Georgia House of Representatives, lawyer, entrepreneur, and romance novelist, became a national Democratic figurehead after losing a hard-fought governor's race to Kemp in 2018 by just 55,000 votes. Since then, Abrams has built a national reputation as a voting rights advocate, founding the organization Fair Fight. She was credited by many Democrats with boosting the party's turnout in 2020, when President Joe Biden became the first Democrat to carry the state in a presidential election in nearly 3 decades. 2 months after Biden's
it was wild. Real quick, I'm gonna pause it real quick because it was wild. Good morning, this Justin. What's up? It was wild when I remember when like Twitter went crazy, giving like Stacey her props, because Fair Fight their name rings bells out there in the streets. If you're out there trying to mobilize to increase access to the ballot, if you're out there trying to fight for electoral justice, Fair Fight's names ring bells. But like, it was funny on Twitter how like that rigid left shit. I'm sorry, I know. But yeah, whatever. I'm becoming a crusty leftist curmudgeon. But the rigid left was like, it wasn't just Stacey. It wasn't that we know. But can we not do the work of the oppressor? Can we not like shit on like some really big strides made, some infrastructure bill? As someone who values the building out of the strengthening of infrastructure and the dismantling of systems that create barriers to the ballot, can we just like celebrate this chick? Like, it was so weird when that happened, and we do need to give her share of the credit. But we know, because I'm doing my part. You all probably do your part in some way, shape, or form. And so many other black people, black women, doing their part every day. Regular black women, like my mama, like my aunties, like poll workers. Like we all in this together. But anyway, that just made me think about like when after the election, everybody was like, "Thanks, Stacey Abrams," and then everybody was like, "It wasn't just her." No shit.
Victory, Democrats swept 2 Senate races in Georgia to give them control of the U.S. Senate.
Hey, Brian.
Since the 2020 presidential election, Kemp has signed into law sweeping voting restrictions sponsored by Republicans, with potentially big implications for how elections are administered in Georgia in 2022 and the U.S. presidential contest in 2024. The Abrams gubernatorial announcement came just hours after her appearance at the Reuters Next conference, where she said she felt bullish that Congress would pass 2 key bills to protect voting rights. Georgia hasn't had a Democratic governor since Roy Barnes left office in 2003.
Shit.
But if Abrams wins next November, she would be the first black woman elected governor of any U.S. state.
Okay, so yeah. So let's back it out a little bit. What I want to do is just go. I want to find her ad. Let me see. Let me just go to Twitter. Right, when all else fails. What's up? Hey, good morning, Joy. Good to see you. Nice ink. I didn't know you was inked up like that, Joy. What's up? Sorry, put your business out in the street. It was on social media. But nah. Good morning. Hold on. Okay, so let's get it. Stacey Abrams. Let's get the ad. I want to get her ad. Y'all know I'm a fan for good ads. We loved Dr. Annie Andrews' ad. I love Tamika Divine's ad. Announcing their candidacy. But let's do this one. They all got that same scoring. They all got that same dramatic ass scoring. Good morning. If you're watching, just drop a good morning in the chat. If you're watching and don't want to say nothing, hey, how you doing?
I've worked a lot of jobs in my life. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. And for the past 4 years,
Thank you for our daily bread.
This is a 2-minute, 36-second ad. It's Husky. Let's go.
when the hardest times hit us all,
Amen.
I've worked to do my part to help families make it through.
Come through bilingual captions. Come through accessibility.
Paying off medical debt for 68,000 Georgians. Expanding access to vaccines. Bringing supplies to overwhelmed food banks. Lending a hand across our state, especially in rural Georgia.
What you mean, Solodola?
We help finance small businesses trying to stay afloat. And I spoke up for families being left behind. While my jobs have changed, what I know to be true has not. Our values are still strong.
Hey, Charlie the Brit.
No matter where we come from in Georgia or how long we've been here, we believe in this place and our people. Folks who deserve to be seen and heard and have a voice. Because in the end, we are one Georgia. Regardless of the pandemic or the storms, the obstacles in our way or the forces determined to divide us. My job has been to put my head down and keep working toward one Georgia. For that farmer in Peach County, the teacher in Sparta, the mechanic in College Park, for our next generation who should have more than we can imagine. Because opportunity and success in Georgia shouldn't be determined by your zip code, background, or access to power.
I feel like the Avengers is about to come, descend on the South.
But if our Georgia is going to move to its next and greatest chapter, we're going to need leadership.
I think you'd make a really good governor. All you gotta do is stay tough and stay brave.
Thank you.
Leadership that knows how to do the job. Leadership that doesn't take credit without also taking responsibility.
Hello.
Leadership that understands the true pain folks are feeling and has real plans. That's the job of governor, to fight for one Georgia, our Georgia. And now, it's time to get the job done.
You know, one conversation that I don't see enough of, I like the ad. The ad is dope. Yeah, make sure y'all do your thing. You know, if you feel inclined to support, whatever. Let me just bring it down to earth again so you understand. Hi, my name is Tamika. I have very progressive, very left-leaning values, right? That being said, you should know that already if you've been watching me for a minute. That being said, a lot of the candidates that we'll talk about are not as left as me, including Stacey Abrams, right? So I want to just make that very clear. My enthusiasm is not necessarily just about representation either. My enthusiasm comes from she's a really strong candidate. And y'all know when I don my operative hat, that's the thing that I like to talk about the most. It's like, who's a strong candidate? Then we can get into the minutia about like who they are, deep, we can look at it a little bit at a granular level. We can take a closer look as her candidacy, like we're doing with Dr. Annie Andrews. Super excited about her candidacy. Think she's an extraordinarily viable candidate. I think there's 100 more. I really do think there's 100 more Annie Andrews that are not just white blonde women, right? I think there's a lot more like viable candidates. I got some speeches as neighbors say word. I think there are even more viable candidates too that they could find out. But I'm excited. But now we're gonna take a look at Dr. Annie Andrews and we're gonna make sure that she doesn't become just this really Twitter finger candidate that just gets a lot of like traction when she's going at Mace, right? So like we will deep dive into these candidates and whatnot. But what's important about me showing this ad as a Black woman sitting here in Charleston, South Carolina, who's been here now since 2014, 2015, full time. Pardon me. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get talking. I forget how to swallow spit. But what's important to discuss this morning after this announcement was made yesterday is that like what happens in our neighboring states, specifically Georgia and North Carolina, what happens there, the strengthening of the Democratic apparatus in both states. Granted, we talk about two-party systems, but right now, the strengthening of whatever organizing, whatever type of strides made with voting rights, whatever happens in Georgia and North Carolina can have real impacts here in South Carolina. It can. Sometimes it feels like South Carolina is just so resistant to anything outside of, far right ideals and ideology. But this is how it starts. This is part of a movement, and the South is changing. It's not changing to be all left. Come on now. But it's changing, and I think the most prudent among us will see the change in shifts in demographics and try to make appeals to these people, these new residents. And it starts now. Let's get serious, because I think if you want a Charleston, or if you want a South Carolina that's just more representative of this country and have a leadership that speaks to the interests of a more diverse America, it starts with kind of like, seeing what's going on outside of here and seeing if we can emulate, bring a little bit down, change things, search and reapply. Ain't shit new under the sun. You trying to come up with a banging idea. Sometimes you just got to do some research and reapply the strategy in your own way. And I think we can learn a lot from Georgia and North Carolina, if that makes any sense. Good morning, D. How you doing? Right. It was exciting. But our fandom typically has like a 24-hour. Now, Stacey is that, like I said, strong ass candidate. Like I can't just unfuckwittable in a lot of ways, right? Not perfect, not above criticism. But been excited about Stacey. I was wondering what the next one was going to be. I was wondering if she was going to. I love the fact that she didn't want to be Joe Biden's token. Let's keep it real. I love that Kamala. I mean, we see what happened to Kamala. We see the shitty portfolio Biden has given her. We see what's happening. That there's definitely tension there, right? And I'm glad that Stacey was like, "Nah, I ain't trying to be nobody's running mate. I'm trying to lead something." I love that. And it validates a lot of decisions I make personally, even though I'm no Stacey Abrams. People say, "Oh, so can you join this? Can you help out? Can you help out Derek? Can you help Derek write? Can I help Derek write what? 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 Help Derek? What?" I changed the names to protect the integrity of a real conversation that happened in my life. "Oh, Tamika, you're great. Can you help him write this for?" What? No, I can't. No, I don't understand what that means. No, I don't understand. Can't help. He can help me. I would love to have a male assistant. All right, so now we're going to careen the car a little bit back and forth. We're going to get into one of the biggest stories right now of shit of the month, of the year, of the past 4 or 5 years, Roe versus Wade. Let me just let you know this. Let me let you know this right now. Chill, especially white women. Chill with that fucking handsmaid shit. Chill. I know this is going to sound very unsympathetic, but lean in real quick. And there might be another source that can comfort you and give you, Rachel Maddow or something like that. There's another source for that right now. I always resist the urge to lean in with this this ultra white feminist response to this attack on Roe versus Wade. This attack has been going on for years. This is a decades shit, probably quarter of a century and more battle to dismantle or to fracture, to damage Roe versus Wade. And what I want to say is that we have been here before. Like somebody yesterday quoted Justice Sotomayor, and they were Justice Sotomayor said something to the effect that how can we survive the stench of kind of like overruling this precedent or overturning this precedent. And then somebody tweeted that, and that's cool. That's actually that's real, right? But I'm like, well, we got Dred Scott. We got a number of decisions. My daddy's born in 1939. I remember, if you Google what the Supreme Court looked like in 1939, or look at when my mom was born in 1949, Google the Supreme Court then. I don't know, and reason why what I'm doing is saying that, this country's been here before. this court's credibility is not just now coming into question. And that's what I've seen capture the headlines. Oh, the Supreme Court's credibility is now, what the fuck? I'm like, I'm black in America. The Supreme Court ain't never really been, it's always had too much power. And it hasn't really served its, I guess, initial functions, not always well, especially if you are of a marginalized identity in this country and your ancestors helped to build this country for free like mine did, right? So let's jump into some lawmakers on the ground in Mississippi, because this is Mississippi. The state of Mississippi is leading the way in this round to weaken Roe versus Wade. We're gonna get to, y'all. We're gonna get to. Just for those who just jumped on, was like, yo, you're supposed to be talking about Citadel. We're going to get there. Gotta get the news out the way. Not out the way. We got to get through the news, and then we'll get to the Citadel's Black Past. Right there you see on the thumbnail that was featured in this morning's newsletter. This is the first cadet. Picture right there to the right of me. The first cadet to graduate from the Citadel. All right, that's Mr. Charles Foster. And then you see there's a book in the middle there by a Citadel grad. And then Ken Gordon, and then the last picture you see in black and white, that belongs to Charles Shine, right? So we're gonna get to that. Joseph Shine, Charles Foster. There we go, right? Yeah. Okay, thank you, D. Let me open this up real quick. Supreme Miss, why Supreme Court is not court and its justices are not judges. Ooh, I don't know about that. I didn't hear about this book. Okay, I like it. Okay, food for thought. Thank you, D. Appreciate you. All right, so let's get to it. Let's just watch this real quick.
Show you who.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Georgia seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman
they got
is recognized
Chantel
for
up
1
there,
minute.
stolen election.
Maya Angelou said that when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Mississippi showed us. The state made its intent clear today before the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade, despite 50 years of constitutional precedent that clearly upholds it. This is about politicians controlling people's bodies and decisions.
Come on.
In my 10 years working for Planned Parenthood in the South, I saw exactly who is hurt the most by harmful abortion bans: Black, Indigenous, and people of color, LGBTQ+ communities, people struggling to make ends. I
know I said Mississippi lawmakers. This is representative from Georgia, as y'all just saw in the Chiron, but we will get to people on the ground in Mississippi working, speaking on this issue.
Meet. Without Roe, the threat to abortion is real and far-reaching. Half of U.S. states are poised to ban abortion entirely, including my home state of Georgia. Abortion is essential. We must ensure that everyone, no matter their zip code, has the freedom to make decisions about their health and their families. In the House, we did our part by passing the Women's Health Protection Act. It's time for the Senate to do its job so that we can rightfully keep abortion safe, legal, and accessible. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, so shout out to Nakima holding it down in Georgia. Let me see. Let's get some more sound bites. This is CBS Morning. I think it's from yesterday. So this is a little bit, for those who don't know, we need to be caught up. This is from yesterday. But they're in Mississippi, which I think is important for the story, for context, for perspective.
Arguments this morning in a case that could allow states.
Sidebar, very, very, very silly sidebar, but this is the formula. Go ahead, Gail. Y'all know I love news. I pay attention to this is the formula. Ladies, people, ladies and gentle thems, whomever wants to wear a bodycon dress, this is the formula. This is the formula. Had a optical illusion. Sorry, that's just me. Sorry. Welcome to Mic'd Up. This is Mika.
To outlaw abortion for the first time since the Roe versus Wade decision nearly 50 years ago. The justices must now decide whether to uphold Mississippi's ban on abortions after 15 weeks. Jan Crawford is at the Supreme Court with more on this story. Jan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gail. There are protesters here already on both sides. Thousands are expected by the time the Supreme Court finishes arguments in this case that really could determine the future of abortion rights in America. And it's a case that started in the Deep South at a clinic known as the Pink House in Jackson, Mississippi.
Come on.
Shannon Brewer has spent most of her working life on the front lines in the fight over abortion.
This is the one that I can honestly say worries me more than any of them.
In 20 years at Jackson Women's Health Organization, she's come to expect protesters and has long had escorts to help the patients inside.
We're out here. I want to say shout out to the escorts who do this work. I've never been attracted to this type of work not because it's not worthy or because I don't think it's good. It's really essential work to escort people in. Shout out to Lynn. And others, not just Lynn. Lynn is the one I know most intimately. I don't know if Evelyn did this work too. I can't remember. But shout out to all y'all who support people just trying to gain access to the facility, even if you're not even scheduled for an abortion or any type of procedure like that. Shout out to the sub. Appreciate. Whoa. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. If you just want to gain access to medical, medical help, right? This work is essential, but this work has never attracted me because of who it brings out and who's just it's so combative. It's really gross too to just be yelling at people, just trying to get access to healthcare. Thank you so much for, thank you so much, Australia Fuega, for the sub. Seriously, whoa. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. Seriously.
Here trying to guide them all through it.
For years, the doctors here at Mississippi's only abortion clinic have flown in from out of state and tried to stay anonymous.
There's only a few of us that are available to come to the state. So if I stop doing it and one or two others stop doing it, then the state's in a very precarious position.
But Brewer says the biggest threat now is from the courts.
They're allowing things to get through that weren't getting through before.
That's what abortion rights opponents like Debbie Goodman, whose protest wasn't with a bullhorn but a quiet prayer, have
weaponizing faith.
Long hoped for.
I believe in the power of prayer, and I did.
I hope look. This ain't, y'all know I ain't trying to make nobody feel away, but I hope you doing that with, you care about the sanctity of life and all that, and you got the rosary out, you doing all this stuff. I hope you feel the same way in all other aspects of government. I'm trying to adjust what I was going to say because I don't want to alienate nobody, especially not y'all. But y'all better take that shit to other places where loss of life happens, like when the police kill somebody. I don't ever see nobody out there that would be out across the street from a Pink House or wherever. I don't see them out there at the front of the police station when they killing people, unarmed people. I didn't see a bunch of Catholics out there with rosaries and Hail Marys and all that. In other areas of life during moments of war. Well, sometimes you do see the black church, maybe, I don't know. Some churches have that type of whatever, but you know what I'm trying to say. I don't see that same energy for all other areas where life is lost or they feel like, you know what I mean? Even though I don't believe in the premise of their argument, right? I don't believe that where they say life starts, that I don't believe that fundamentally. I don't. And I do believe in a woman's right to choose. So the argument to me is baseless, but if you think this is loss of life, I don't see you popping up nowhere else. And I know that's a really reductive bit of commentary. I'm acknowledging that. But you get what I'm saying, though. Where that energy at for the other shit?
Get a little emotional and I'm doing it again.
Or like when kids are getting hurt in the system and stuff like that.
I just feel like prayer works.
Like the foster care system. Like New Jersey has a disgusting foster care system. I don't see like these Catholic charities out here doing this like that. And there's no shade to Catholics, but you get what I'm saying.
You know, if I think about what's happening possibly there right now, it just breaks my heart.
Jackson Women's Health.
There was a school shooting that they didn't even take up like front page news. A school shooting, 4 students lost their lives. Don't hear it. Gun rights, common sense gun reform. Don't hear it. Sorry, I keep stopping and saying that, but it's just really. Yeah. Let me bounce out in the interest of time. Let me bounce out of this clip right here. I I know I'm kind of a little sloppy with that. I just want to bounce out for a second. Let's get to Justice Sotomayor. Let's get to some of her comments here. This is a 3-minute clip. I don't know. It says Washington Post, so I don't know if it's just captions or is it, more than that. But let's just watch this.
Not tethered to anything in the Constitution. Viability is not tethered to anything in the Constitution, in history, or tradition. It's a quintessentially legislative line.
Counsel, there's so much that's not in the Constitution, including the fact that we have the last word. Marbury versus Madison. There is not anything in the Constitution that says that the Supreme Court, is the last word on what the Constitution means. It was totally novel at that time. And yet, what the court did was reason from the structure of the Constitution that that's what was intended. And here in Casey and in Roe, the court said there is inherent in our structure that there are certain personal decisions that belong to individuals and the states can't intrude on them.
The viability line discounts and disregards state interests, and the undue burden standard has all of the problems that
How is your interest anything but a religious view? The issue of when life begins has been hotly debated by philosophers since the beginning of time.
Right.
It's still debated in religions. So when you say this is the only right that takes away from the state the ability to protect a life, that's a religious view, isn't it? Because it assumes that a fetus is life at when? You're not drawing when do you suggest we begin that life?
I think the philosophical questions Your Honor mentioned.
Just to have a man, I know, like men litigate lots of cases regarding women's issues or issues dealing with people with uteruses or whatever it is, but just like, just to like hear a man like this hotly contest these things really pisses me off. I know that's like. So what I'm gonna urge y'all to do, please make sure there are so many groups in the South who are working for and toward reproductive justice. There are organizations in this state, but one I want to lift up today that's not in this state, that's in a neighboring state of Georgia, is Sister Song. If you know an organization, because y'all are really dropping so many facts and so much good information and comments in the chat here on Twitch. If you know an organization that's working toward an organization that has presumably has a Black liberation analysis that's working toward reproductive justice, right? Not just access to abortion, reproductive justice. We're talking about bodily autonomy. We're talking about marginalized groups, having their interests and their needs centered. If you know a group like Sister Song, drop it in the chat. Let's share those resources. Share the people who are doing great work on the ground, especially in the South, in Alabama, Mississippi, and South Carolina, places where a woman's right to choose or a person's right to bodily autonomy, a person's right to reproductive justice is being challenged. Just drop it in the chat. Yeah. Right. Yeah. LQG said that lawyer worked last administration defending family separations. Ugh. I didn't know that, LQJ. Joy, you said something. If you're a man talking about this, know your shit. There are textbooks which will show you the basics. Shit, ask the 5th grader. Exactly that. Estrella Fuega. The point was so good though. Like we need men to get that. Oh, excuse me, men that get it right. I say that in the same breath. Say men should. I hear you. Me too. Like with so we talk a lot about racial justice issues, right? And we're definitely gonna talk about it as we talk about the Citadel and its Black past, right? We definitely need co-conspirators. We need accomplices that take different forms and shapes and have different types of gender expression. We need all of that. But we need to, but I guess primarily, my primary concern is that women, non-men, femmes, GNC folk who are invested in reproductive justice or working toward reproductive justice, they have prominent space in this argument. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's my thing. Like we definitely need men to get it, but like, yeah. Yeah. Yellow Hammer Fund. Keep dropping them, y'all, even if I don't read them out loud. Like, this is important, or whatever you want to suggest. It might not even be an organization. It might be a resource. It might be a hack. It might be a person, unofficial, like, whatever it is. Don't have to be an incorporated 501c anything, right? Preferably not. But Sister Song been doing that work. I believe it's still Black-led. Let's look at the About Us. Let's look at the team. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can... Yeah, this is what this is the type of leadership I'm fucking with. It's kind of when you talking about reproductive justice, this is what I want to see. Ooh, yeah, Sister Song. Yeah. Monica Simpson, definitely ring bells. You can Google Monica, and you can have a field day, especially if you go on YouTube as well. You get a lot about Monica's work as executive director of Sister Song. All right. All right, let me get back to it. Let me see. I got like 2 browsers open. I'm asking for it. I'm asking for an interruption. So yeah, I wanted to make sure we talked about reproductive justice. It's 8:36. Let me see what else I want to Let's just do the Omicron variant. And then we'll have to just go ahead and we're going to transition to the Citadel and to that stuff. Okay. So let's just do Omicron in the Low Country as reported by Carolyn Murray.
In the United States. And now,
hold up. Let me rewind it.
The first case of the new COVID-19 variant Omicron has been detected in the United States. And now our nation's top leader.
I'm with that, D. I just caught that. Vasectomies for everyone. They are reversible. Yup. Go ahead and let me stop. But somebody say, oh, you supporting eugenics. No, I'm not. Calm down.
State health officials are working to prevent another surge. News 2's Lexi Moore joins us live in the studio. And Lexi, health officials say with vaccinations and booster shots available, we can protect ourselves from the virus.
Carolyn, with the first case being detected in California, state health officials here in South Carolina say their level of concern hasn't changed much.
Of course.
But one thing local and national leaders agree on is vaccines and boosters are critical for anyone who is eligible.
We're learning more every single day.
I'm tired of his
And we'll
face.
fight this variant with science and speed, not chaos and confusion.
The Omicron variant making its way into the United States.
Thank you, Nicole.
The first case detected in a person who recently returned from South Africa.
This is the first confirmed case of COVID-19 caused by the Omicron variant detected in the United States.
President Biden says the best protection against the new variant is vaccinations.
Right now, about 135 million Americans are eligible for a booster, but only about 40 million have gotten one thus far.
Here in South Carolina, state health officials are constantly testing for the new variant. The Department of Health and Environmental Control says they are sequencing daily to monitor whether it is present here in our state.
I don't know that it is already in the Carolinas. I think that at least in South Carolina, we have a very robust testing program and sequencing program.
Health officials say it could take weeks before we know if the variant is here in South Carolina. But the steps we have taken since the beginning to protect from COVID-19 spread are still the best lines of defense for when it does arrive.
Omicron or Delta or any other variant, the actions you can take to protect yourself and to protect others around you remains the same. Vaccinations, masks, testing, and physical distancing.
According to DHEC, the Delta variant remains the most prominent strain in the state. Reporting in studio, I'm Lexi Moore, Channel 2.
Okay, so yeah, the Delta is here circulating. And please wear your, I've been wearing my mask indoors quite often, except for like when I have meals, like the other night at Harold's Cabin. And of course, I have to take off my mask to eat the bologna sandwich that is so delicious there. But seriously, like, just make sure you mask up. Please do. All right, so let's get to it. So I wanted to. So let me say this. I'm gonna be very careful. Careful with, like, sometimes I reach out to people and I just had a dope conversation and I'm looking forward to an interview. I can say that. I'm looking forward to an interview with a Citadel a former Citadel cadet, a Citadel alum, a Black Citadel alum, a gentleman. His name is Alvin Johnson. Y'all know Alvin. Alvin led was one of the subcommittee subcommittee chairs, of the special commission. He led the economic empowerment subcommittee. I was on history and culture, that was led by Dr. Felice Knight, who teaches at the Citadel, who is, comes from a very historic family herself. Dr. Felice Knight is a dope historian at the Citadel, and it was great. But yeah, so I spoke with Alvin. I'm really excited about that upcoming interview to just give you more insight into what the perspective is from this person who's a little bit more contemporary, a little bit more in touch with some of the things we discuss here on Mic'd Up. So I'm looking forward to that. But that conversation leading up to scheduling that interview, that conversation led me to wanting to talk about the candidates that were recently featured in a portrait. Two of the first cadets at the Citadel were featured in a portrait. It was unveiled recently at the Citadel, and it was a story. Shit, I didn't even get to this shit. Y'all. I didn't get to this, but we're gonna maybe if we got time at the end. But we're gonna actually get to the story. Let me see, not that one. That's the good one. We're going to get to the story that actually kicked off my desire to want to talk about these first Black cadets, right? So let me pull up the story first. I know it's in one of these browsers. Hold up. Or it might not be. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. All right, so shout out Caitlin Bird. Let me make this a little larger. That's what they said. All right. All right, so make this a little bit larger. So this is the story. This was published November 22nd, so right before Things Taken. This was published by Caitlin Bird. I thought this was an exceptional piece. Now, I want to say this. I have smoke for Adam Parker for always writing the blackity black stuff. I don't think Caitlin occupies that space, but I think she does thorough work. When they do thorough work, let's recognize thorough work. And this is not the only piece from Caitlin Bird that I want to talk about, because there's another one she did that was regarding this subject matter that just opened my eyes. I think that was the one that was in the other browser. Hold up. Yep, she wrote this back in May of 2021. As the Citadel confronts racist past, a Black cadet shares his truth through fiction. We're gonna get to Ken Gordon's book in a second, but yeah. So Caitlin's been on this beat for a second, and I think the reporting has really just, you know me, I love history, right? We're also gonna jump into Denmark Vesey's Garden real quick. I'm gonna read a little bit, real quick. You pronounce what? Let me see. What's this? Wait, hold up. Say less. I put. Wait a minute. Wait. Australian flag. What you mean? Wait. Say less. I'm happy to interview with you. Oh wait, you pronounced my name. What you mean? Are you a Citadel alum? I'm all trying to catch up. Sorry. All right, but so let's get into this story real quick, right? So it's been a long time coming. The Citadel honors first Black candidates. So when I saw this story and I saw this is the portrait that was unveiled, right? And I did have this question. Why is it a twofer? Why is it a 2-for-1? Usually when you want to honor someone, a trailblazer, a pioneer, the first, it's usually a singular person. So then I said, well, maybe they did something together. Maybe they did something. Maybe they launched some sort of initiative. Maybe they were really co-equal leaders in some sort of initiative on campus. Not quite. So let's just read a little bit, okay? The Citadel unveiled this portrait of Charles Foster and Joseph Shine, the first two African-American cadets at the military college, during a portrait presentation ceremony on November 13th. The artist is it Rainier Lanes? Is it Lanes? Or I don't know if the double L, I don't know if it's another pronunciation. All right, so let's just read a little bit real quick. When 17-year-old Charles Foster reported to the Citadel in the fall of 1966. The Southern military school tried to downplay his historic arrival. College officials asked the media not to make a fuss. An article published deep inside the New York Times, and we've got that. Do we have that production team? Which is me. Let's see if we have that production team. Can we pull that up? Production team? Let's see. And shout out to, this is my love language right here. Right here. I love an archive. I love a dig. So this was back in September 8th, 1966, the New York Times, Citadel enrolled. This is it. This is the big, is this big, right? That's what they said. Is this big, right? It's really tiny. Citadel enrolls first Negro entrance virtually unnoticed. This is from 1966, September 7th, right? It was written but published in the 8th. The Citadel, founded in 1842 at South Carolina State Military College, enrolled its first Negro cadet yesterday. His entrance went virtually unnoticed. The youth, Charles D. Foster of Charleston, routinely went through student orientation and accompanied his mother, Mrs. William Foster, at a reception in Mark Clark Hall. His roommate will be David Blake Hooper of Cherry Hill. Shout out Jersey, stand up. Cherry Hill, New Jersey, stand up. All right, so well, I don't know what that dude was. Okay, so let's get back to the story real quick. What'd you say? Let me see. Okay, got you. Okay. Conserving space. L. Cool J, that's an interesting way of framing it. Right? Okay, let's keep going. I got some insight on it, so let's keep going. All right, so I got some research, did some research, okay? College officials asked the media not to make a fuss back in 1966, right? An article published deep inside the New York Times. Shout out to Caitlin Bird, providing the link. I found it. It was really deep down. All right, the following day declared Foster's entrance which desegregated the Corps of Cadets. Right, so let me skip down right here. And when a local TV station declined a $125 offer from CBS to interview Foster over the summer, the school's public relations officer sent a memo to the college president assuring him that the public exposure was avoided. And again, production team, do we have that? Can we pull that up? Let's see. Yeah, here's the memo. So again, Caitlin provided the links. I just wanted to download them so we didn't have to wait for any type of buffering or whatever. So this is from General Harris, again, back in the summer of '66. Yesterday, CBS offered, this is from the Citadel archives, by the way. Yesterday, CBS offered WCSC TV, CBS, $125 for a filmed interview with Negro prospective candidate Foster. The offer was declined. I don't know whether management, John Rivers, or cameraman Tom Crenshaw turned the offer down, but in any event, the public exposure was avoided. Saying aloud. And yo, if you ever go to the city archives over there above the Gilliard Center and you do research on anything, you're going to find a lot of memos like this saying some fucked up shit. They didn't hide this shit. They sent these memos out, and some of them have been thrown away by racist clerks way back when, who used to hold it down at the archive. But there's a lot of dirt in there that you'll find just like this at the city archive, right? All right. Shout out to my homie, my brother Cyrus Buffum, for putting me on. All right, so now, more than 50 years later, after Foster quietly became the first black student to join the Citadel Corps of Cadets, the military school that once tried to understate his contributions has honored both Foster and Joseph Shine, the Citadel's first two African-American cadets. During its 2021 homecoming weekend, after the pandemic canceled original plans for the large public unveiling in 2020, the Citadel presented a large portrait of both Foster and Shine. I thought they were going to be in separate portraits, standing to a standing room only audience. Okay. All right. In a portrait, Foster and Shine appear shoulder to shoulder in their blue dress uniforms, immortalized forever. Foster graduated from the Citadel in 1970. Excuse me. Let me reiterate that. Let me be redundant on purpose, right? Intentionally redundant. Foster graduated from the Citadel in 1970. So who was the first graduate? Right, it took 50 years. LQJ, who was the first graduate? So why aren't we focusing on the first? Not saying that Joseph Shine, there's a gang of black cadets that need portraits. There's a gang of them. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch, right? But why isn't the first given that honor? So my research gave me some insight into why, right? Shout out to just people who hold me down, who help me with the research. All right, so basically, y'all, these decisions, these decisions are made on who to immortalize, who to memorialize, what to memorialize. These decisions are largely made by a very close-knit faction within the, whatever various alumni organizations that exist. These decisions take place there. But in trying to, I guess, respond to pressures from outside, pressures calling for more, for Citadel to confront its history, to acknowledge the cadets who contributed to this, to the Citadel. Calls for that are met with people who are still resistant and reluctant to do. They still move like that memo. They still not that one, but they still move like that memo. Let me pull it up one more time. There are interests. There are people still feel like let's downplay this. Let's downplay this first stuff. Let's not, right? And so, from what my research has shown me, there was a resistant faction that, because of Mr. Foster's his adult life, because of what transpired later in his life, right? Some unfortunate turns and twists and turns in his life story, they felt like that disqualified him from earning the distinction of this singular tribute, right? So I just want y'all to know that the stuff that you read in this memo right here on the screen, still, like I always argue with the vestiges of slavery, the vestiges of Jim and Jane Crow, the vestiges of the redemption period following Reconstruction, the vestiges of all those crazy points and structures in our, all of that still informs the present. Because they'll say, oh no, it's not about race. But why would you this person did this thing at the Citadel at this time. He broke ground. He was the first. Mr. Foster was the first. Why not just honor that? Oh, well, he did some things and we think, there's a criminal report, criminal history. Hello, you have a fucking Confederate flag hanging on your campus. You had the Klan on your campus, not once, not twice. Wait, hold up. So somebody's arrest record disqualifies them or whatever, because that disqualifies them from you just acknowledging his work, what he did, what he endured. And we're going to get into that in a second. And we're going to keep reading Caitlin's piece. What he endured, all that is nullified because of some other bullshit that might have been even like, you probably can make the argument, it could have been his experience at the Citadel that put him on the path that he ended up on. It might be. I'm speculating, but you get what I'm saying, right? So so this is one thing I want y'all to be. I want y'all to be perpetually curious. So when you see stuff, even if you don't know anything, even if you don't suspect anything nefarious, just why are there two people in the portrait? What are their relationships? Well, what's the relationship? This is Charles Foster. He graduated first. The next year, Joseph Shine graduated. So just be perpetually curious and ask questions, because that's what I did, because I wanted to know, right? Let me just read a little bit more. The painting, which is more than 5 feet long and some 4.5 feet tall, is now the largest portrait. Look at them that's cute. It's the largest because you got two people in it. I better be the largest. You got two people in it. All right, 5 feet long is now the largest portrait and this is also that's part of the performative, right? Like, so not addressing, not really being, to me, that's a little performative. Like, oh, we're going to make this the biggest, right? Okay, that's fine. I'm not mad at it. Let it be the biggest. If the biggest is the blackest, then fine, right? If the biggest portrait is actually the blackest portrait, then fine, right? So it's the biggest portrait in the Great Hall of the Daniel Library, according to the Citadel. This is really important to us, the family. So this is it Jenna? Janae Galloway, Foster's cousin, said in a news release, and to know that he's inspired African Americans and people of color to get education here, we're proud of this moment. Shout out to the family, and they should be proud. I want to make that abundantly clear. The family should be proud. All right, it's part of an ongoing effort. This is what I want to say. This is part of an ongoing effort by the Citadel, as the military college seeks to tell its full story by honoring the contributions of black cadets who both helped integrate the military college and who endured varying degrees of racism at the school. All right, we're gonna get into that link right there. That's linked to her story, the other story that she wrote back in May. As Foster walked to and from class, white cadets would shout epithets out their windows at him. Once, while Foster stood in formation with his company, a group of cadets from another company charged at him, screaming and yelling, while dressed as Klansmen in white sheets. That sounds really familiar. But that must have happened back in the 60s, right? That was old. They don't like, that didn't happen again, right? Like the whole sheets and stuff. Right? Like that stuff. That stuff is old, right? We're going to get to this clip. I'm
joking, of course, because if you... 8 students at the Citadel Military College in Charleston, South Carolina have been suspended after photos were found of them on Facebook wearing white hoods that some say look like KKK hoods.
No.
This is 5 years ago.
Think that. What weirdos those people must be. I'm joking, of course, because if you turn to the mainstream media, in some forums at least, you'll see something like this video.
And scandal at the Citadel to tell you about. The South Carolina Military College now suspending several students over this controversial photograph. You can see 7 cadets wearing all white clothes and hoods over their heads that some say resemble the KKK.
Some say.
That beautiful presenter there is...
I love some say. Allegedly. Right? Then we can't forget this hit from 5 years ago, too.
A Muslim family is considering a lawsuit against Citadel, which is a military academy, over the fact that their daughter will not be allowed to...
Philosophically, spiritually, psychologically. Wait.
wear her headscarf while she's attending the school. Now, the student, who is unidentified, has decided that she will not go to the school if she's not allowed to wear the headscarf. However, administrators on campus are saying, we have a really strict uniform policy, and it applies to everyone, not just Muslim students. Uniformity is the cornerstone of this 4-year leader development model, the standardization of cadets.
Oh, okay, that's why they were all given the same hoods.
In apparel, overall appearance, actions, and privileges is essential to the learning goals and objectives of the college.
I'm just going to pause it for a second there to say that is exactly why I would never go to the Citadel and why I never joined the military. Like, okay, our goal is uniformity. None of you have any personality. I need you to all look and act exactly alike.
I mean,
who finds that interesting?
Well,
no shade to the military out, but like someone like I was in the ROTC, so I remember some of that uniformity at a very, very basic, small level. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of just let y'all know, like, this race thing with the Citadel is not some old, yellowed, decaying history. It's active. It's contemporary. It's present. It's now. It's really, right. No, that wasn't a response to the hoods. That was just a separate story. This is a separate story. Like, it's just whatever. After they shared it, Charlie Britt, what you mean? Let me see. Charleston BLM shared a story about Jordan Jackson. She was my roommate at the Citadel. You quit after Hell Week. I didn't know that, Charlie Britt. I didn't know that. So what was the, they shared a story recently? BLM? Yeah, you DM'd about your input after they shared the article. How did it go? If you want to share anything that, share it here, whatever you feel comfortable. I didn't know you enrolled at the Citadel. I didn't know that. Shout out to you for adding that perspective. Right? Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me sharing this story. There was something else I wanted to hit on with that. Wait, hold up. Was it? Let's go back to Caitlin's story real quick. Okay. And then it's gonna jog my memory real quick where we want to go next. Okay, as Foster walked to and from class, the white cadets would shout epithets. We said that while dressed as Klansmen, they're trying to break me. This is a quote. They're trying to break me. I'm not gonna let them do it. Foster told his brother during the first 2 years in school, they're trying to make me seem like as if I'm weak, that I can't continue on, right? In a 2019 oral history about his barrier-breaking brother, William Foster said his sibling refused to give up and would often remind himself, anything they can do, I can do. Though Shine was not the first, he too overcame obstacles and had to confront racist attitudes during his time at the Citadel when he became the second African-American in the Corps of Cadets became the second African American in the Corps of Cadets and the only black cadet in the graduating class of 1971. Thank you. All right, Shine would later tell Alex McCauley, a historian and a 1994 Citadel graduate who published a book about the Citadel, that the attitudes of classmates range from supportive to outright racist. When Shine heard a knock on his door one night during his first year, he opened to find the cadets had poured fingernail polish remover in the shape of a cross, that's so corny, on the floor and set it on fire. To say the road was difficult is an understatement, said Theodore Tip Hargrove III, who spoke at the portrait installation ceremony. It's no secret about the racism that existed throughout all of America, not just deep in the South, but they had allies, and so they go on to emphasize. This is I thought this was a dope picture right here. 2 black cadets unveiling the portrait. That's dope. But here you go talking about the allies, like the people that weren't racist there. Like the roommate Jim Lockridge. Cool. This is so. Let's go on. During the senior year, Lockridge and Shine joined other cadets at the local bar. Right. So this is Lockridge talking about other instances of discrimination that they experienced. Right. So Lockridge and Shine, other cadets went to a local bar, but when Shine ordered a beer, he was denied service because of his race, and was told he only gets his drink if he moved to the back of the room. In response, the cadets walked out of the bar in solidarity. Okay. Sorry. I just think that that anecdote is important, and I got you in the chat, Charlie. The anecdote is important, but we already talked about white savior and it. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, Charlie, in the thing you said, they slid racist terms written on paper under our door. Charlie, how do you identify? If you don't mind me asking, how do you identify ethnically or racially? If you don't mind sharing. So they slid racist terms written on paper under our door. They got a barber to shave a bald patch in her head. You talking about the Jordan young lady? Okay, a bald patch in her head. Wow. And then called her Patches. That wasn't mentioned in the article about Jackson. It was about her trying to start an investigation about being strip searched. What? And they buried it. Wow. Wow. That's sad. Thank you for sharing that. British, you're white and British. Got you. Jordan Jackson's African American. I got you. So, but you were her roommate, so they slid it under your door. So you saw this firsthand, saw some of the treatment that she endured. Wow. Thank you for that. I appreciate that so much. Seriously, this is what I like about Twitch is that it's interactive and y'all can help me with the story, help me with some of this. I wanted to take a second. And I wanted to, all right, I'm gonna switch the scene in a minute. So basically, let me switch it right now. So if you know me, you know I'm a fan of Denmark VC's Garden. Yes, there are other books. Yes, the other books cover other stuff that is just as important. Yes, but this is my Bible. All right, this is my whatever. Right. So I was inclined to, after I did my research on how the decision was made to memorialize these two cadets that helped integrate the Citadel, I was reminded that Mika, go back to Denmark VC's Garden and go back to the beginning of the book. In the beginning of the book, at the prelude, after the introduction, it talks about all things gnarly, the slave trade and all that other stuff, right? This is the workhouse. I believe this is, this is the workhouse, AKA the sugar house, right? That was part of the Citadel campus. The Citadel, the original Citadel, the OG Citadel, which we still see remnants now. If you go to Marion Square, which was the old Citadel Green, right? You'll see one of the buildings, because there were workhouses. There were several buildings. Some that were destroyed during the earthquake, like the workhouse, the sugar house. Really a disgustingly ironic name, because it was a torture chamber. But anyway, so we know that the Citadel still, the original OG footprint still exists. You can still find it here. So I went back to Denmark VC Garden. I want to read this. I want to read the origins of the Citadel first, right? So if we're talking about we're talking about, let me use this picture. If we're talking about, we're lifting up, let me switch over. If we're lifting up this, right, and we're discussing the contributions of the first two black cadets to graduate from the Citadel, if we're talking about this and we're talking about their experience, and we're listing all the ways that they had to endure people dressed up as Klansmen, listening to Dixie being played during football games, having crosses burned in paper or nail polish remover, Okay. Oh yeah. Shout out, Charlie. Thank you for that, Charlie Britt. Oh, I know Hugh Jackson. Okay. Oh, I don't know anything about the Jordan story too. Like I'm totally blind spot. So this is this is education for me. I'm gonna look it up after we finish this. But when you talk about all of this and you talk about their experiences, it didn't just happen because they were different, right? Switch it back. It didn't just happen because they were different and all that. It happened because this is what the Citadel is found. This is their moral core. This is at its moral core. This is part of their DNA. I want to say this. I've got colleagues and friends who currently work, and people I respect, who currently work at the Citadel. All kinds of people, white, Latina, black, all kinds of people, white, women, all kinds of people that I really respect, who are trying to be a part of that team of people, that core group of people who want the Citadel to confront its past as honestly as possible. I want to acknowledge those people, like my former boss, Donna Englander Factor, like Dr. Felice Knight, who's doing her work academically in the classroom, more so in the classroom. There are other people there. I remember encountering Marina Lopez, who was documenting some of the stories, getting oral histories and whatnot. There are people affiliated with or working at the Citadel who are a part of the change, who are trying to make sure it push for better, right? But we can't ignore the origin story of this institution. So let me just read a little bit from this is page. If you have your Bibles, Denmark VC's Garden, page 21. It's part of the prelude, but we're going to read this. The Citadel. So following Denmark VC's rebellion, right? Let me start there. So after Denmark VC's rebellion, that was thwarted, unfortunately, right? On Bastille Day, there were some consequences for black people, black free and the enslaved in Charleston. All right, so let me just read a little bit of the aftermath. In the aftermath of the affair, this is the Denmark VC rebellion, white South Carolinians tore down the African church's house of worship, the first Mother Emanuel, curtailed a few liberties afforded to free blacks, and tightened the slave supervision. That part right there. So after Denmark VC's rebellion, y'all, they curtailed liberties, right? So like some of the free blacks then had to, shout out to shout out to the local historian Charlie Smith, who hooked me up with this. But like, so basically you had to have trustees. You had to have white trustees. If you were a free black in Charleston, you probably like identified as mulatto or mixed race, right? You had certain privileges that the enslaved populations and the darker populations didn't have, right? And so after DeMarvisi, then they were like, okay, you free blacks too? Oh, no, y'all we're gonna group all of y'all together, and you're gonna need a trustee. You want access to your money? You want to move? You want to buy this and that? You're gonna need a white trustee to vouch for you. So basically, there was supervision at every level, right? From things that resemble modern day policing, that's what the Citadel was created to do, to that like almost like financial conservatorship over adult black people who've amassed whatever wealth or whatever means they have. Oh no, you need a white person to vouch for you if you want to do this in Charleston. All that happened after the insurrection, after the rebellion. So again, so they tightened slave supervision and they tightened a lot of other restraints. The Citadel, on page 21, the Citadel was just one part of the city's elaborate architecture of racial control. Let me say it again. Shout out Ethan and Blaine. Shout out Ethan and Blaine. Okay, Ethan Keitel, Blaine Roberts, authors of DeMarvisi's Garden. The Citadel was just one part of the city's elaborate architecture of racial control. At the corner of Meeting and Broad Streets, across from the City Hall and St. Michael's Church, sat the guardhouse. All right, so after it was remodeled in the late 1830s, this hulking building featured enormous Doric colonnades, right? Yada, 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 we don't care about the architecture. The guardhouse was the headquarters of the city guard, whose daily patrols were, like the guardhouse itself, an ever-present reminder to slaves that they were being watched, right? Further up the peninsula, the Piquet guardhouse, keep me honest, the Piquet guardhouse at the Citadel Green, a parade ground adjacent to the Citadel, served as the headquarters for the guardsmen who monitored northern neighborhoods, okay? So literally, let me do that first sentence. The Citadel was just one part of the city's elaborate architecture of racial control. And it was erected, and oh wait, there was a funding part. There was a part about the funding. That, because it's almost like the whole defund the police thing. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. I wanted to get to the funding part because that was important. Companies gathered. All right, DeMarvisi. Hold on. Because that was before that. So after the rebellion, Here we go. To bolster the city. Okay, here we go. In the aftermath of the affair, white South Carolinians tore down the African church's house of worship, curtailed few liberties afforded to free blacks, and tightened slave supervision. To bolster the city guard that policed Charleston, all right, the state appropriated funds to support a permanent municipal guard. The state appropriated funds to create a permanent municipal guard of 150 men and authorized the construction of a citadel that would house the new guardsmen and their weapons. In 1830, the Citadel, which sat between Meeting and King Streets on the northern outskirts of town, opened its doors. So the Citadel was quite literally created, right? Exactly. Yep. Thank you. Just in. Thank you. Right? It was literally, so when you want to know, like, why did this happen? How did this happen? What was it? That's what the Citadel was. And I think, just calling it a military college is disingenuous, and it's a whitewashed version of history. I'm going to switch back up. So wanted to get other types of perspectives. I want to keep reading Caitlin's story because it's really well written and good. But we're going to switch that earlier story from May that she wrote that further outlines the experience of black cadets at the Citadel, right? Again, just being curious, being naturally curious about how they came to the decision to make acknowledge the two pioneers, Cadet Shine and Cadet Foster, right? So let me see. Okay, so we talked about these two cadets. We're still talking about them. Let me see. Shine's wife, Judge Margaret Lewis Bean Seymour, sat in the front row. This is during the ceremony, during the portrait ceremony. It's an honor to be here, right? It's an honor to be here. I know Joe would be so proud. So Joe's no longer with us. Charles is no longer with us. I know Joe would be proud, right? She is, let me give her flowers, senior United States District Judge for South Carolina who lives in Mount Pleasant. All right, Shine was a distinguished student who served on regimental staff his senior year and was a founding member of the college's African American Society. He later attended Harvard Law School in 1974 and became an attorney for the city of Charleston. Shine also served as South Carolina's Chief Deputy Attorney General from 1987 to 1993, right? All right, so let me flip to some other reporting. Well, this is the White Hoods. We already did this. This was from 2015. We already did that. And this is Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated, we're gonna talk about this too. Ooh, Rick Riley? Okay. All right, we're gonna get to that. No, we ain't gonna be able to get to that today. All right, let's get back over here. This is the other story. So this is a story back from May of 20. Let me jump in the chat and see. D, you asked a question in the chat. You said, so the guardhouse was at the Four Corners. I'm trying to get a better understanding as to the footprint of the Citadel. So they tell you the streets, and of course we know Marion Square, but outside Marion Square, I'm a little disoriented, D. So I'm trying to, I'm going to either see if someone can like show me like an old timey map, or if I can find one myself, because I'm a little disoriented outside of Marion Square and outside of the workhouse that's no longer there. I know where that was, like on how they described it, but I'm still trying to understand the original footprint of all these guardhouses that were literally just police stations with this like castle-y, gothic, or whatever the aesthetic is. I know Caitlin already said it. I already forgot it. All right, so let's read this article back in May. As the Citadel confronts racist past, a black cadet shares his truth through fiction. So this is it right here. This is Kenneth Gordon. Ken Gordon, shout out Willingboro, New Jersey, from Willingboro, New Jersey, right here. Right? Ken Gordon, a 1988 graduate of the Citadel, poses for his senior portrait. And this is him right there. Boom, boom. All right. Now 54 and living in Birmingham, Alabama. I would love to interview him. Gordon has published a book called Bad Dogs. Shout out for the new follow. Gordon has published a book called Bad Dogs, a black cadet in Dixie. While the book is fictional account of black man attending a military college in the South, it's based on true events, including some of Gordon's own experiences at the Citadel in the 1980s. Ken Gordon never kept a journal during his time at the Citadel, but no one, he explained more than 35 years later, can forget hell. Ooh. Whew.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking bars, nigga.
Okay, Ken Gordon never kept a journal during his time at the Citadel, but no one, he explained more than 35 years later, can forget hell. When Gordon reported to the Citadel campus in 1984, he found a South that refused to let go of its past. The Confederate battle flags waved in the stands during home football games. Cadets marched to Dixie during Friday afternoon parades. 18 years had passed since Charles D. Foster broke the color barrier in 1966, right? So he came here about 20 years later to become the first African-American to join the Corps of Cadets at the Citadel. Yet Gordon, an 18-year-old black freshman from Willingboro, New Jersey, remembers being called one name more than any other in his first year, the N-word, all right? The frequency for which I was called that name, the frequency for which they referred to my race in that way in front of me, as if I was not even there, as if I did not even matter. There was no shame, Gordon said. There was no guardedness. There was no hesitation. I think that's powerful. Like just unabashed discrimination. His parents had urged him not to go to the Citadel, but Gordon's determination prevailed. He dreamed of flying jets. Upon graduation, but a lot of these graduates don't even go to the military, I learned. They just it's like the connections. But anyway, he wanted to go to the Air Force. All right, so he dreamed of flying jets. Upon graduation, Gordon could enlist as an officer. That's true. Yeah, they do. They forgot. They get that little bump. So he had enlisted as an officer, a must if he hoped to become an Air Force pilot. Okay. Instead, he graduated. Oh wow! Instead, he graduated in 1988 with two. Look, y'all. This is devastating. Instead, he graduated in 1988 with 2 stomach ulcers and 4 years of trauma. Shit. Hey, K-Bells, is that Kayla? K-Bells? My neighbor's son went and left last year. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of these stories. People who join and then like they drop out, and it's designed to be that. Hazing is so weird. I don't understand the origin of hazing, the violent hazing. Like, it's one thing for like pranks or something like that, but the physical toll, that I don't get it. Charlie the Brit, you said, yeah, they have a mindset that they can get away with it, so they don't hide it. And they have been getting away with it, right? So he goes on to say here, I know I'm not the only one who saw things, who heard things, who went through things. I know we all did. So why did Pat Conroy he sounds like me. So why did Pat Conroy have to be the first to write about something that happened to someone who looked like us, Gordon said. In December, Gordon published his novel, Bad Dogs, A Black Cadet in Dixie. It joins a unique collection of books inspired wholly or partly by what happened behind the Citadel's iron gates, including Conroy's Lord of Discipline. I never heard of that. And U.S. Rep. Nancy Mace's first-person account of her gender integration. Shout out Shannon Faulkner. Gordon's book, however, is the first known work, fiction or otherwise, written by a black cadet about the Citadel experience. Bad Dogs, and I am not familiar with the book at all, y'all. Bad Dogs is all of our stories as African-American cadets, said Jamie Jenkins, a 1999 Citadel graduate who has read the novel. We all experience either directly or indirectly some form of racism at the Citadel. I don't care who you are. I don't care when you attended. We all experienced it on some level. I think that's very powerful as well. I think it's very powerful. This is the cover of Bad Dogs right here, A Black Cadet in Dixie. All right. During his 4 years at South Carolina's Military College, Gordon became president of the school's Afro-American Society. Under his leadership, his senior year, the club began selling blue and white bulldog towels as an alternative to the Confederate battle flags that still appeared at Johnson-Higgins Stadium. Wow. All right. It says Sports Illustrated magazine took notice and wrote a blurb about the new symbol in the stands in 1987. I didn't know that. So what's this? Wait, hold up. They wrote about it in 1987? When was this? This is 2014. Wow. I should click on the link. Hold on a second. So this is Sports Illustrated in 2014. What is the Citadel? For some athletes, it was a place of nightmares. I'm switching to another story, but we've got to get there. In this Sports Illustrated 60 series selection, Rick Riley explores the dark world of hazing and harassment of athletes at the Citadel Military College. I wonder if they're going to emphasize race. Has to. But let's go back to let me go back to Caitlin's story, because she has a link to the blurb in 1987. Wow. This is from November 1987, Sports Illustrated. All right. Okay. Colgate tailback Kenny Gamble rushed. Hold on, come on. Wait, where's it at? A blurb. Bear with me. Here we go. Symbols at the Citadel. All right. A year ago, the Citadel attracted nationwide attention because of an ugly hazing incident which involved 5 white-robed upperclassmen. This is crazy. They keep doing... They're not imaginative at all. A year ago, the Citadel attracted nationwide attention because of an ugly hazing incident in which this is from 1987, y'all, in which 5 white-robed upperclassmen burned a small cross, and it's not funny. So this is the time when old boy was there, right? This is around that time. Okay. A year before. Okay. Small cross in a black freshman's room. That other racial embarrassment prompted the school to establish a committee on race relations that recommended, among other things, the traditional use of the Confederate symbols at Bulldog football games. be curbed. But old habits die hard. After touchdowns, white cadets continue to wave Confederate flags while blacks have in recent years taken to waving American flags. Whites stand during the school's band rendition of Dixie while blacks remain seated. Now the Citadel's Afro-American Society has come up with, okay, this is the idea, come up with what it envisions as a unifying symbol, the bulldog towel, which comes in blue or white and bears a paw print insignia and the words E.L. Cid. All right, the words L. Cid, is that the credo or whatever? Ken Gordon, the society president, says he hopes the bulldog towel will replace both Confederate and American flags. Wow, you think about Kaepernick at this moment. You think about Kaepernick, you're thinking about nothing is new under the sun, y'all. It's really amazing how things occurred in history and how we just kind of we repeat history, or we just, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is amazing. I got you in the chat. I know I'm not looking in the chat a lot. I'm trying to stay focused. But okay, I'm gonna come back to the chat in a second. It says Ken Gordon, the society president, says he hopes the bulldog towel will replace both Confederate and American flags. The Citadel's student section will look less like how do you pronounce that word? Antietam? Antietam? I don't know how to pronounce the word. All right, we decided it was time. Thank you. I see you, Elko J. We decided it was time to take the initiative, says Gordon. We borrowed the concept from the Minnesota Twins, Homer Hankey, right? The towels, or the Steelers, didn't the Steelers have terrible towels back then? I don't know. The towels made their debut during Saturday's 27-17 loss to Appalachian State. Gordon says he sold about 500 for $5 a piece, and he hopes that they will continue to wave at the Citadel's last home game this week against Furman. The Citadel's president, Major General James A. Grimsley Jr., has voiced support for the bulldog towel. Now it's up to the cadets. Shout out to that bit of reporting from 1987. Right? Look, and so the story included pictures from the yearbook that had the Confederate, so here's I think this is the bulldog towels here. And then this is the Confederate flag here. Yeah, it really makes you think about Kaepernick. It really does. Right? Okay. Then we'll skip down a little bit. After he graduated, Gordon refused to wear the iconic 10-karat gold Citadel ring. Each time he slipped the band of gold onto his finger, all he saw was pain. The experiences from the Citadel were so impactful. They were so real, and they were so painful, Gordon said, his 54-year-old voice catching in the back of his throat. Come on, come through, Caitlin. I just don't know if I'll ever forget them. These are the things that are written on your heart and written on the person that you are. In 1991, 3 years after graduating, he began writing a story based on his own experiences as a young black cadet at the majority white military college in the South. It would be written as fiction because he wanted the book to feel universal. He wanted black graduates of any military school, whether it was the Citadel or a VMI, to see their stories validated within the fictionalized version of his own. That's powerful. In the chat, Elko J, you wrote something. You left a husky comment. Earlier this year, you listened to You're Wrong About the You're Wrong About podcast. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Who put me on to that? Was that you or Evelyn? But I listened to it. Did I finish it? Did I listen to it or not? I think I did. I did. Okay. Not about the Citadel and racism, instead about the Citadel and sexism and hazing, and trying to prevent the evolution of that institution. Right. The hazing trying to prevent the evolution of that institution. Exactly that. That's a really good way of putting it. I imagine it was so much worse for black cadets. What is important is that the hazing is not contained to inside the walls, right? It involves larger community. It definitely, the alumni, all of that. Also showed that Faulkner did the real work, not Mace. Yeah, Faulkner ran so Mace could skate. Shannon Faulkner ran so Mace could skate. Let's keep it real. Antietam, thank you. Thank you for the phonetic breakdown. Yeah, thank you, Australia, for the... I felt no shame for not knowing how to pronounce something. Admit it. going out here and saying dumb shit is worse than asking for help. Thank you for the phonetic breakdown, D. Justin, you said the Citadel and other schools like it do sound like hell. I don't understand the desire to attend. The hazing part, I can't pass go on the hazing part. Like, seriously, like that's a accepted, I can't. Shaving your head and all that. I don't get that part. I don't get how you, like, I don't get this whole let me break you down to build you up shit in any aspect of life. In sports, some of that toxic sports culture, I gotta break you down to build you back. No, you don't. Positive reinforcement works. Now, or if not just positive, some other ways, other incentives work other than pain. Pain seems like the American go-to incentive for everything. Oh, you committed a crime? Let's punish you to oblivion. Oh, you acted out in class in South Carolina? Let's create disturbing schools laws and put you into the justice system prematurely. Like, pain and punishment seem to be the incentives of choice. Like, what happened to other shit? Give me some carrot, bitch. All right. I'm just so mad. I get mad when people are stuck on punishment and pain and being punitive, right? All right. There was something he said in this article about like creating committees. His exasperation mirrors mine. And I think he said, if he doesn't mention, it has to be in here because this is a really long piece. Really long and really good. I really suggest you read this and then go to the portrait piece from Caitlin. I think the May piece is so important, and I didn't even catch on to it till I revisited the more recent piece about the portrait. Let me see if I can find. I think he was talking about committees. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. No. Let me see if I skipped over it. No, that's the Race Relations Committee. Nah, it was something in there about just like the solutions being like woefully just not enough. Like you just create these boards, you create this like these studies, these departments, and like it doesn't get to the root of the problem, right? It doesn't get to the root of the problem. Let me see. I'm trying to find it real quick. No. All right. Let me just move forward. Okay. Let me move forward, get back into the chat. Nicole, you dropped a comment in the chat as well. You said, LQJ, that hazing is prevalent in the military, as a whole too, right? They have been recently trying to instill a no hazing rule. Yeah, like some of that rigorous stuff I get, some of that boot camp stuff I get. As somebody who had to go to Paris Island as a member of the JROTC, we're low key. Okay, so they try to put us through that shit. Fuck that. That shit was like, we had fun. I don't know, however, it was fun. So anyway, I was in JROTC at St. Andrews High School on Wapu Road, right? So we had a JROTC trip to Paris Island. Was not excited about that obstacle course, nothing like that. But when we get there, it was just a lot of fun. We snuck out our dorms. You know what I mean? I had a little Romeo and Juliet thing going on. Somebody came to my window. You know what I mean? Like, it was fun. I had fun. It was fun back in the day. Not Paris Island's not fun. Sorry, I was thinking about the boot camp thing. But the boot camp thing, I get it, because they were trying to tell us how important, like, you know, all this physically demanding stuff. But nah. Yeah. Oh, this is the one I want to get. This is the part of the story I want to get to. The Terry and Neesmith part. Now this one, yeah. Yeah, we want to get to this part. Yeah. Fourth class system. Okay, let me keep reading this. I don't want to lose y'all. The fourth class system. It's a little light on videos today. I'm a little heavy on reading, but you got me. So let me see. I want to get to the beginning of the Neesmith. Is it? Okay, Gordon did not sleep that night. That was a really bad story, right? Neesmith left school a few weeks early. Neesmith left the school a few weeks later. In his resignation letter to the Citadel officials, Neesmith said that he was leaving of my own free will for personal reasons. In November 15th of 1986, the statement issued through his family, Neesmith, shared a more complete truth. He said several cadets had continued to harass him, and under the school's fourth-class system, he was powerless to respond. I feel that I have been made the villain when the villains remain at the Citadel, Neesmith said in a statement issued through his family. Alonzo Neesmith, a 1977 graduate of the Citadel, and the first and only black member of the school's governing board at the time, called what happened to his younger brother, Terry, both brother, an act of terrorism, and said the white students should have been expelled, and they weren't. So I skipped over that part of the story, but let's just keep going real quick. Instead, the 5 guilty cadets were confined to campus for the rest of the school year in order to complete 195 marching tours, a disciplinary action that remains the harshest punishment issued in the school's history, short of expulsion. Right? Wow, that was powerful. Okay. You know Alonzo? Okay. Still don't understand the choice for coupling the cadets together. So you still don't understand the choice, right? The first black graduate. So basically, and I'm being very careful right here. Basically, from my research, so when the topic came back up, so basically for years, some of these factions who are charged with making decisions around who to memorialize or what part of the history of the Citadel to memorialize. Charles Foster's name was brought up many, many times over the past years, but it oftentimes was batted down because later on in life, Charles D. Foster had a criminal record. From my research, I was able to find out that there was some alleged concerns around his mental health from his family. His family says that there might have been some mental health needs that were not addressed for whatever reason, that led him down a path that was probably just not as spectacular as the part of his past that includes being a pioneer at the Citadel, right? So basically, every time not every time, but when at instances when Charles's name would come up, hey, we should dedicate a portrait or we should whatever with this guy. They did this great thing. Someone would come armed with a dossier of this is his history too. Is this who we want to lift up? Is this who we want to, is this who we want to, paint as a hero? So the white supremacist culture still was very pervasive in the decision making, and so there were people who were invested in discrediting Charles Foster and minimizing his contributions. And I think when people do stuff like that, it's two-tiered. Yeah, of course, there's a racist element there too, but it's also a defensive act to prevent us from having this larger conversation like ones that I'm hopefully starting today, which is, why is your past so fucked up? Why is your past so riddled with race? Oh, okay, you were founded to police black people. You were founded to actually control and restrict the movement of black people. We get it, right? So I think that when white people who are white people with power and influence who make these decisions, what I see is there's two things. Yeah, they have beliefs and ideas that are not in line with mine. But the other thing is, like, we don't even want to open up this can of worms where all this comes out, because if you have to pay tribute to a Charles D. Foster or a Joseph Shine, that means you have to tell their whole story. That means you have to tell the whole story. Not only that, you have to tell the stories of the Jordan Jacksons. You got to tell the story of the young Muslim cadet who said, you know what, fuck it, I'm not gonna go if I can't wear my hijab, right? Or you got to tell the whole story. Shannon Faulkner, you got to tell the whole story. Oh yeah, they dressed up like Klansmen and came to my dorm. And that's what they're also trying to and to Lynn's earlier point, trying to retard the growth, or the evolution of that institution, right? K-Bell said to be the only black in white military spaces and come away with no mental issues is damn near impossible, as evidenced by Mr. Gordon, writing the book. Shout out to the new subscription. Thank you, D. Right? D, you said, yeah, that's part that I tried to bring into the defund the police conversation. Go back to the origins, right? And they don't want to do that, right? They don't want to do that at all. Yeah, there can only be one model black citizen, right? Not a complete human being. Lil Mama, you dropped that up there. You said, K-Bells, you said I was the only black female in satellite school. Wow. Yeah, your ancestors' prayers, good, yes. Your ancestors' prayers fortified you. I'm telling you, it ain't a village. It takes supernatural, for real, supernatural forces, seriously. But I wanted to, let me see. There was some archive. So this is Ken Gordon. He was included in the Citadel archive. I really want to interview him now. After I read this in full, because I already read the portrait piece, but I didn't read the Ken Gordon piece until this morning. And I was like, oh, I got to interview this dude. Let's talk about it. But y'all know I love a good book talk. What's going on? Wake up, Tab. Oh, man. Damn, did they take it down? Wait. This one I started getting like, ooh. Wait, I literally had this up earlier. It was, what? I literally was like, It might just be a thing, right, y'all? It's not, That was interesting. Let's see if I can get to some other Citadel. Okay, yeah, they still let me see, I can go to 88. Maybe it just timed out. 88, King Gordon. Oh, here it is. Okay. No conspiracy. No tinfoil hat. Let's see. All right. No tinfoil hat. Gotcha. Sorry. Maybe it just timed out. I was like, huh. All right. King Gordon this is the author of Bad Dogs. I graduated from the Citadel in 1988 with a degree in political science. Shout out political science. Shout out Willingboro, New Jersey. South Jersey, though. South Jersey. Yeah. They get Philly sports and Philly news, so I don't know. All right, and I joined the Corps of Cadets as a member of the regimental band company. Since graduating from the Citadel, I have worked in the field of healthcare and medical devices. In more recent years, I have written and published a book, Divorced But Still Dad, Faith, Principles, and Fatherhood for divorced men. I also started a church. Okay, he's a man of faith in Burlington, New Jersey. I think he's in Alabama now. Okay, so that's who he is. I guess you get to write your own page. That's cool. All right, let's go back up here. Charles D. Foster the first. This is a list of like the black men and women. I think they started a second column for women. So this is Charles D. Foster, y'all. Charles D. Foster, a Charleston, South Carolina native, was the first African-American student to graduate from the Corps of Cadets. He entered the Citadel in 1966 as a member of the Golf Company. When asked about his return to the Citadel in 1967, he replied, "I feel like I'm lucky and I'm part of the school and the military. Sure, I'm going back." Wow, they cherry-picked the shit out of this. "Sure, I'm going back. I wouldn't miss it." Upon his graduation with a degree in business administration from the Citadel in 1970, he entered the Army as a second lieutenant. While in the Army, Foster worked on explosives. Works as an explosive expert on the Aberdeen. Okay, Texas. Okay, so in 1973, he moved to Dallas, Texas, and managed a large moving company. Wow, he passed away in 1986. Oh my God, he passed away 20 years after he oh my God. That's even more reason why he should have got his own portrait. Oh, he went through hell. Shut up, KCJ18. I see you. He went through hell. Wait, he died in 19. I didn't know he died when I was 5. Jesus. He went through hell. You can't tell me nothing. Let's look at Shine. That's Judge Jenkins. Where's Shine at? This is not the list of Joseph. Why is this Shine? Is this if Shine? Okay. I don't know why Shine is down here. Ain't these all black graduates? Let me see. Yeah. Where's Shine at? Okay. What's this diverse? Brandon, what's up, Brandon? Good morning. Found that article where his brother talks about experience here. Thank you. I need to get that Jordan article that Charlie Britt was talking about too. I really want to lift that up too. Let me find that too. Let me cue that up real quick. And if you dropped it in there earlier and I didn't see, I'm sorry. Did I spell it wrong? Yeah. Oh, it's from 2013. Oh wow, 2016. The strip search stuff. Okay, so let's wow. All right, Brandon, let me because that's gonna take me to another place real quick mentally and emotionally. Let me read this. Thank you for this. So Citadel of Trauma. Ooh, untold story. Thank you for this. Shout out. All right, Citadel of Trauma. The untold story of the cadet's first black graduate cover story. Okay. So those 4 years made him completely a different person, no doubt about it. Charles was intense after he graduated. You can really tell when he talked, especially when he was making a point. His demeanor had changed. I'm sure something happened and it was so traumatic, he refused to talk about it, Bill Foster, his brother, said. Charleston, South Carolina. Charles D. Foster was just 17 years old, a 17-year-old black kid who wanted a college education when he joined the Citadel Corps of Cadets in 1966. When he got what he got was a lesson in humility and a place in history books as the Corps' first black graduate. Unlike the 4 women who broke the gender barrier at the 153-year-old military college in 1996, Foster carried his burden alone. When the female pioneers entered the cadet, I don't like what they're doing here. When the female pioneers entered the Citadel, the world watched. That's true. But I don't think you should I hope they're not comparing the two. I ain't doing that. Because both are very significant and need to have need to be viewed through a certain lens. Okay, but I get it though that he was by himself. But Shine came the next year, so he was by himself, right? All right, Foster carried the burden alone. When the female pioneers entered the Citadel, the world watched. Foster's arrival 30 years before stirred barely a ripple beyond the Citadel's iron gates. All right, people didn't want him there, right? And we saw that with that response from the college and trying to minimize any type of press. People didn't want him there, said his brother, Bill Foster, who with his mother accompanied Charles on the first day of registration. But that first day, they treated him as any other plebe coming into the system. No one treated us ill, but you could tell feelings were hidden. I want to now, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for so much. I'm going to keep reading this, but let me bounce to another article I found this morning in the archives. I found this let me see if I can find it. And using my library card, of course. All right. It's a pretty long article, but it's literally long in length. So this is from the Evening Post, which is now the Post and Courier. They switched names a couple times. So this is from 1966, August of 1966. Right, and this was but this is much later. Like Caitlin Bird's piece says, they didn't really talk about it July, I guess. But anyway, this is in the Evening Post, I guess after because in August, September, right. So this is the piece. Anyway, this is the piece that predated the September New York Times story. But this is right here, supposed to be him. I don't look like the portrait though. But it says Charles Foster at summer job, right. Warren Kuhn is the person who wrote the story, just one among many. And the 126 years of history, which has included thousands of frightened, confused boys, Charles Foster will stand alone next month. The 17-year-old boy chosen to become the first Negro student at the Citadel. It's a prospect which fails to disturb his emotions. If appearances and a calm demeanor can be believed. Charles Foster is going about his duties. This is really weird to read like this. Let me read on this page over here. It's bigger. All right. It appears the appearances and calm demeanor believed. Charles Foster is going about his duties as a temporary janitor at the passenger terminal of the Charleston Air Force Base these days, poised and cool, unruffled, and straight talking. He stopped his work with a buffer, shining up and wax floors. This is really interesting how detailed this is about him cleaning the floors as a janitor. All right, he stopped his work with a buffer, shining up the wax floor of the terminal, politely nodding when a visitor asked him if he had time to stop for a while. It was checked out, and he was he was given the okay to knock off work a while. Okay, anyway, so they outline it here. They note that he's calm, has a really even-keeled demeanor. Again, this is from just really interesting to see how it was written in real time at that time here in Charleston. Let's get back to the piece that Brandon dropped in the chat. Okay, right? So they could tell when the family went, they could tell that the feelings were hidden, right? All right, that kind of ambiguity may have been the hallmark of Charles Foster's 4 years at the Citadel. Even today, 30 years, let me make it a little larger. 30 years after he broke the Corps' color barrier, and 10 years after he died in Texas. Oh, wow, in a Texas fire. Oh, shit. Texas house fire. That's how he passed away? This man got a life. I think all of it need to be told. He died in Texas house fire. Questions remain not only about the facts of Foster's Citadel years, but about his place in history too. Right? And then what year was this written? This was written in 07. This was written in 07. Wow. And we just now getting the portrait. All right? Graduated in the 70s. So. All right. For the Citadel, Charles Foster was the wrong black guy to be the first. Ooh. This is it. Brandon, I owe you. Brandon. Say word. Say word. Shout out, Brandon. This is it. This is the piece. All right. For the Citadel, this is the piece, meaning that this is like, I love when I encounter like a blog post. I don't know how you found this. Please drop in the chat how you found this shit, because this is amazing. All right, so because this perspective is really illuminating. Let me say it like that. For the Citadel, Charles Foster was the wrong black guy to be the first, just like Shannon Faulkner was the wrong first woman, said alumnus and author Pat Conroy, who was getting a lot of recognition for what he wrote, right? A frequent Citadel critic. Pat Conroy will be on the right side of history. Let's just say that. Like, we know that, right? We know that already. All right. From the beginning of his Citadel experience, Charles Foster drew little attention. The great desegregation stories had already been written, right? Like, hey, we did a thing, y'all. We let the blacks in. Give us our awards. Give us our pats on our back. Give us our acclaim. We let the blacks in. We let them in. Hey, make that movie about the one general that stood up against the hoods and the crosses burning, and I bet you there was already a movie already written where like there was a white general who helped the blacks. I'm sorry. The great desegregation stories had already been written. James Meredith had already integrated the University of Mississippi. Harvey Gantt, shout out. Harvey Gantt of North Charleston had broken the color line at Clemson. All right. Nor were black students unprecedented at the Citadel. Even before Foster arrived, blacks had attended summer school at the college. I didn't know that. But no black man had ever been a part of the Corps of Cadets. Let me read it again. No black man had ever been part of the Corps of Cadets, endured the fourth class system, or war in the ring. Dee Dee Nicholson, former Citadel public relations director, said later that the college asked the media not to make a big fuss about Foster's arrival. We already saw that, right? Reporters agreed to the rules designed not to single out Foster. The national media filed low-key stories, shout out the New York Times, then left. A short story about Foster's arrival, battalion assignment, and roommate appeared in the Charleston, South Carolina News and Courier. During Foster's 4 years at the Citadel, only 2 stories, one column and one editorial were written about him locally. The story about the 1970 graduation had one paragraph about the first black graduate. That's nutty. Can I just say this? Hit my Googles. You did your Googles? Brandon for the win. Just so y'all know, for full disclosure, Brandon and Fernando and I, we up to some things. We up to some things. So, if Brandon, drop something. If you have anything to promote, Brandon, please drop it here, friend. Please drop it here, friend. Let's support Brandon. If Brandon, you need anything, CashApp, anything you want, a cup of coffee, drop it in the chat. Because, you know what I mean, we up to some things. Me, Brandon, and Fernando up to some things. We really are. All right. This is okay. So I want to switch to some other coverage, and I want to make a larger point about that. I want to make a larger point about the lack of publicity, and how the institution itself worked to limit the publicity around this watershed moment. Right. I want to make a larger point about that, but I want to go back to a tab I had open, New York Times, from 1986. Oh no. Yeah. Also from 1986, right? So we already read about Ken Gordon. He just wrote a novel back in December, was published about his experience, like a composite of the black experience at the Citadel, right? Okay. And so that happened. He enrolled in 88. So 86, this was in the New York Times. I think this was linked to in one of Caitlin's stories too. I'm gonna see. Let me go do this. All right. So this is the headline. Let's go up. This is the headline. Here we go. I can grab it. All right. Citadel cadets feeling effects of Klan-like act. So here you see. Who is this? Okay. Here you see a picture of looks like predominantly white, if not all white. I mean, the school in 86 is like white as hell. So you see all these white cadets in this picture in the middle, and you see a Confederate flag in the middle right there. All right. I'm going to read it from, let me see. Shit, I should have kept the thing in there. All right. Now. All right. Let's just read it from here. Let me just read it from here. Make it larger. I can read it. All right. 1986, November 1986, November 22nd. All right. Late Friday, as on every Friday, the cadet corps of the Citadel gathered on the parade field, and as the shadows of the battlements atop the barracks were cast toward them by what? Why is it written like this? I'm sorry. This is like old-timey language. Late Friday, as on every Friday, the cadet corps of the Citadel gathered on the parade field, and as the shadows of the battlements atop the barracks were cast toward them by the setting sun, they flashed their rifles, lowered the American flag, lowered the American flag, and white or black marched to Dixie. The Confederate anthem, like the Confederate flags that erupt from the stands at football games, is part of the rhythm of life here. God, I hate them both, said Cadet Terry L. Adams, a junior from Washington, D.C. Hate, despise, loathe, like 116 others among the corps of 2,000 cadets. Mr. Adams is black. Okay, so I'm going to drag this over here. Is this him right here? Okay. I'm just going to read the caption. I'm going to hop back over to Brandon's piece. Okay. So the caption underneath the photo, it says a Confederate flag being waved at a Citadel football game. At right, Kevin Neesmith. Okay. We just talked about it. Kevin Neesmith, who resigned as a cadet after hooded cadets woke him in his room. Wow. Lift him up. All right. That's wild. So let me go back to that other piece before I dip. All right, no, Brandon didn't take me up on that offer. Okay, so let's the larger point I want to make about the part that we just read about the lack of publicity, and I've made this point so many other times before, right? This is not unintentional. So when I'm talking to you about defund the Post and Courier, it's not literal. It's not literal, first of all. So if you took it literally and like, oh no, but journalism must like, oh, it's not an attack on journalism. It's an attack on that publication and its practices. Calm down, right? But largely my criticism of the Post and Courier is one that could be reserved for other news outlets and other practices within journalism, right? Especially white-led, white male, cisgender-led journalism, right? These newsrooms, these editorial boards, this is largely just very homogenous, right? But the criticism here, the issue here is this is by design. They don't want to cover the first. They don't want to cover the trauma because they don't want the public to have sympathy for the cadets. Also, they don't want to shed light on unsavory practices, racist, harmful, deadly practices, vicious hazing practices that have a racial bias as a core feature. They don't want you to see that either, right? They don't want to open up that can of worms, but primarily they don't want to make these black pioneers. They don't want us to feel that sense of pride, right? When you learn about Charleston and South Carolina specifically, constantly trying to attack the moral contagion, right? Trying to combat the moral contagion that is, if you see a free black, if you see a wealthy black, if you see an upwardly mobile black person, if you see a brilliant black, if you see a gifted black person, if another black person sees that example, then they'll aspire to that. And so it's always been a goal of white supremacist practices here in South Carolina to contain the moral contagion. Let me see. Shit, my backpack is over there. I'm gonna try to look up the book, but hello, I got Google right here. All right, we're gonna get to Jordan in a second, real quick before I dip. I know I keep saying that, right? Moral contagion. Y'all know I'm gonna try to talk to this author in the new year. We're gonna probably had too many interviews, right? So Moral Contagion is the book I'm referencing, and it's the term that's literally written in into law at a certain period in Charleston, right? So I'm just gonna get a synopsis again, so you understand what I'm trying to say here. Here's the abstract. I'm gonna butcher your last name, Michael. I'm gonna butcher your last name, the author of this. Okay. Oh, no, somebody wrote about it. Hold on. No, I don't want to do that. I want to get the synopsis here. Michael Schnappner. All right, so it says right here. Let me just please open it up. Okay, between 1822 and 1857. Between 1822 and 1857, 8 southern states barred the ingress of all free black maritime workers. According to lawmakers, they carried a moral contagion of abolitionism, and black autonomy. Okay, let me say it right and not fumble. Okay, according to lawmakers, right, free blacks coming into Charleston, the ingress, as free blacks would come in through like work at the harbors, work on boats and shit like that, all that maritime stuff. As the free blacks would come in, they would say, oh, no, y'all got to go to jail. They literally had a law that said if you're free and black, right, maritime workers, if you got free black people on your ship, on your vessel, they got to go to jail. Because we don't want our enslaved population to see what freedom and autonomy looks like. Literally in the laws of Charleston, right? We need you. No. You got free black? Oh, they got privileges? Oh, they not owned by nobody? Oh, they got to go to jail. Oh, even if they can't stay on the ship? No. They got to go to jail, right? So that's the really quick oversimplified premise of the book Moral Contagion. But according to lawmakers, they carried a moral contagion of abolitionism and black autonomy that could be transmitted to local slaves. Those seamen who arrived in southern ports in violation of the laws faced incarceration, corporal punishment, and the incipient form of convict leasing. They would literally lease you out. You had to work. You had to go and work. Right? Even punitive enslavement. The sailors, their captains, abolitionists, and British diplomatic agents protested this treatment. They also wrote letters, published tracts, cajoled elected officials, pleaded with Southern officials, and litigated in state and federal courts, right? By deploying a progressive and sweeping notion of national citizenship, one that guaranteed a number of rights against state regulation. So why am I bringing that up when we're talking about the Citadel? Why am I bringing up this book, Moral Contagion, when we're talking about the Citadel? Because this is exactly what they try to contain here. What they try to contain here is also what they try to contain through the press. So when Adam Parker writes a story on how, the Charleston Chronicle, the historic black newspaper, closes its doors and it's the end of an era, it's the end of a storied institution, who's going to carry the mantle? Well, local, Geechee Experience and BLM. And this is no shade to either one of them. And I already said this before. I'm literally here every day, literally here, with thousands of hours of either radio, podcast, live stream, whatever you want to call it. And so when Adam Parker or whomever made that editorial decision to not include, right, local black media voices, it stems from this practice here of trying to contain the moral contagion. We don't want you to speak as freely as Meek. We want to keep putting her on the outskirts so you think it is. You think her vulgarity. You think that the invective. You think that the use of profane language. All of that is so bad that we can't even put it in the same category as a chronicle. Even though black radical way of speaking and talking has always existed, has always been published, printed, and put on film, right? But they're gonna continue to say, oh no, Mika didn't exist. Mika didn't exist. We don't want to show you that moral contagion. We don't want you to be emboldened. I don't expect people to curse like me. I don't expect people to call people by names like I do. I don't expect that. But what I do hope to model is that you are to teach people that you have to create your own systems. You have to create your own ways, your own network. Sometimes, literally, create my own network to dispense information and create community. A community that really values honesty, introspection, history, legacy, tradition. So that's what I'm trying to model. But they don't want you to see that. So I'm going to get 137 eyeballs on when I probably would have gotten an assist from say the institution's name. Think about if Adam Parker would have just posted a link to my live stream instead of ignoring me, right? Instead of doing what they did to Septima. Septima is 50 years old, losing her job, losing her pension. Let's not write about it because we don't want people to feel sorry about her, right? Think about how much support she would have gotten if someone would have followed that story, printed those stories, printed a series on that, and fought for her, right? Think about how compelling that would be. It's a moral contagion. They don't want you to see what freedom look like. They don't want you to see what freedom look like. They don't want you to see they don't really want you to know how bad slavery was 1,010% worse than what you fucking think right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, slavery was 1,000. Yup, and that's a number I arrived at with my calculator. Slavery was 1,000% worse than what you think. It wasn't. A lot of stuff has not been recorded. A lot of stuff that we're still now uncovering comes from really, really deep dives and archival digs, right? But they don't want you to know about that. So like I always say this, I hate a liar. Like I can't stand a liar. The older I get, the more I hate mendacious people, right? I hate lies and liars. I hate mendacity, right? Shout out Cat on Hot Tin Roof. I hate mendacity. But what I hate more than that is people who omit the truth, like lies through omission. It's one thing to say, oh, Tamika, her breath stink. Oh, Tamika, she ain't pay her rent last month. It's one thing like to lie on me on something stupid, right? Right? Oh, she da-da-da. But it's another thing to just omit people, to just literally disappear people in history, right? And that's what this story, I think when you get those perspectives, like the one in the article that Brandon dropped, that's what you miss. You feel what I'm saying? Right? Too risky. Contagious liberty. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me read some of the comments in here. I got a little into the thing. I'm gonna wrap up by reading about Jordan's experience because I honestly didn't know. Joni, you said you hate when black people with mental illness are criminalized. Absolutely, right? Sort of what Mr. Naismith, yep, and Ahmaud Arbery as well. Absolutely. Yeah, Ahmaud was dealing with some things. That's one thing I wanted to be very light with, be careful with. He was dealing with some things. And if you when you know, right? And you could tell his mother kind of knew, but like to be criminalized is crazy. It's so vicious and violent. Joni, thank you for lifting that up. All right. Oh my goodness, let me see. They want to make you seem abnormal. Outcast. Pronounced outcast. I just want to look that up. Okay. Let me get to the story real quick. Because I do have to bounce. All right, it's 10:10. All right, Citadel police inquiry of alleged strip search of female cadet finds no criminal wrongdoing. Okay. The aroma of marijuana. Oh, wow. The aroma of on the college campus, you think? The aroma of marijuana and a peek at a bag of pot prompted a March visit to the Citadel barracks room that ended with a former female cadet alleged she was strip searched, according to documents released Wednesday. Ex-cadet Jordan Jackson complained to campus police after the March 8th incident, saying she felt humiliated and violated by a search order by a school commander. But a subsequent police investigation found no signs that a crime had been committed against Jackson, a 19-year-old Ohioan who withdrew from the military college after reporting the incident, authorities said. This is back in 2016. This piece was published in 2016. Okay. The military college this week released a thick pile of reports and witness statements from their investigation of Jackson's complaint in a search to a request from the Post and Courier. Jackson, who was a freshman knob, told campus police that she was strip searched in her dorm room at the direction of Colonel Thomas Harris, an officer in the commandant's office. The search was prompted by a smell of some sort, but Harris never specified what the smell was, she said. Police documents, however, state that Harris was alerted after one of Jackson's roommates told Human Affairs officer she smelled marijuana in the room and found what appeared to be a bag of pot in Jackson's locker on March 8th. The roommate, Hannah Holt, told police that Jackson had a bag on her person during the search, but Harris and other cadets didn't find it. That's because Jackson was allowed to disrobe out of the male's eyesight, giving her an opportunity to secrete the pot, according to Holt's statement. Holt told police she later confronted Jackson, and Jackson admitted to having pot, but claimed, why are you being the police? You a hating ass roommate. You ain't even no roommate. You a cop. Holt told police she later confronted Jackson, and Jackson admitted to having pot, but claimed she didn't want to get caught with it, according to the police report. Jackson did not return a message to Post and Courier, left on her cell phone Tuesday. Her attorney, David McCune, said Holt's version of the incident was not my understanding of the events of that day. Even if she had pot, like, what the fuck? Like, what? In March, Jackson told police that Harris and male cadets were in the room for some portions of the search, but left when she stripped off her pants and pulled down her underwear, the report stated. A female cadet was called to observe that portion of the search. Jackson was not touched during the incident, the report stated. It doesn't matter. That's important detail to add, but it doesn't take away from the gruesomeness of it. Holt disputed portions of Jackson's account, telling police Jackson never removed her underwear during the search and that no males were present when Jackson disrobed beyond her jacket, police state. Another roommate, Kelsey Shingle Backholtz version of the events. All this for pot? No, it wasn't you. No. I know it wasn't you, Charlie. I would have been like, oh, Charlie, wait, hold up. No, I know that wasn't you. Oh, yeah. Hating ass Hannah. Over a pot? Like, I don't even care she had it. Like, really? Sled got involved? Yeah. And at some point, and Charlie, I don't know if you know whether or not, like, it was Hannah White, or not. It does factor into the story. I'm not vilifying all white people, but listen to what I'm trying to say. Like, if you're a white person, and let's just say you attend the PWI, predominantly white institution, especially one that's, I don't know, founded on torturing black people to help thwart any type of rebellion, you might want to chill on, like, telling on black people for, like, little shit. I mean, is she running through the campus with a machete? Okay, call somebody. You saw her trip somebody and laugh about it and they hurt themselves? Okay. Maybe. Like, you smell fucking pot in college? And you know what? And I don't want to take too many liberties because I don't know Hannah Holt like that, but it reminds me a lot of what we see in Nancy Mace. What we see in Nancy Mace is a lot of pick me shit, right? A lot of look at me, daddy, look at me. Look at me. I'm one of you guys. Hey, I'm one of you. I want to belong, so I'm going to pile on to the person that y'all are piling on. I'm going to continue to participate in that, and I'm going to over police this black body. I'm going to over police this black cadet, this minority, and I mean that numerically. I don't like using the word minority because we're not the minority. People of color are not the minority on this globe, on this planet. But you know what I'm saying, the numerical minority. Like, oh, I'm going to police this person who doesn't have this community, doesn't have this infrastructure at this school that's really historically is hostile toward black and POC cadets. Like, I'm gonna think twice before I go run tell that. You feel me? I got you. Yeah. Oh, white passing Latina? Yeah. Thank you, Megsy. It's just, Nicole, little mama, you said also about that harassment. They never did anything about that, right? Like, yeah. Like, that's like, it's just, I don't know. We got to really have a conversation about, like, when, especially right now in light of the attacks on Roe versus Wade. We got to talk about, women, female solidarity, whatever the hell. But we're going to talk about it during the book club, because that book, shout out to little mama for that one. Thank you. Y'all keep signing up for this book club. I'm overwhelmed. I'm back to where we were before. I'm a little overwhelmed now. I'm like, then we got the Omarion variant, like how to do this both virtually and in person and safe, and a lot of people signing up and da-da-da-da. Anyway, but the book, The Trouble with White Women, is going to help us talk about those things and unpack that solidarity that white women typically have with themselves or with white interests. All that Coney Barrett bullshit we're seeing right now. Shout out to y'all for dropping that quote earlier from her. But it's just really unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But yeah, let me see. They took, he says, no, they shook it off, didn't even blink. However, because this is, you answering Little Mama's question, however, about the harassment. However, I don't think we formally reported during Hell Week. We told the upperclassmen, I think it was in 2012, right? Little Mama, you said you feel like the harassment and stuff under the door. Yeah, it is a bigger story there. Oh, I honestly think that, right? And so to that point, Little Mama, like knowing how oppression is linked, like knowing how bullshit patriarchy is linked to other white supremacist practices, like, yeah, okay, the hazing, the racially based hazing, the sexual harassment or, gendered harassment is definitely linked to like a larger culture of violence, like this type of representational violence that appears in all these other ways. And I know that people love tradition and they love, oh, my granddaddy did it and da-da-da-da-da. I walked 4 miles to the Citadel in snow and bullshit, right? That was absurd on purpose. That was intentionally absurd. But I know people like to hold on to these, I had to go through hell week and that's not healthy. What you endured, we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to waterboard. We don't have to waterboard our cadets. We don't have to make them go walk through hell. Even the name Hell Week is trash, right? Even that. Like, it's designed, like why would you want to design an experience that's designed to, like, I guess, discard the weak? And then, like, so if you're going to the Citadel and you want to graduate, you want to make history, you want to get through this, or you just want to graduate, period, why do you have to go through literal hell to graduate? Like, I don't understand that. And so if you do, you probably feel the pressure, like, I got to get through this. Everybody else did. The 100 cadets last year did it. Like you feel pressure to go through something that's not cool. And then you look at the cadets from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, some that dropped out because they just couldn't endure this bullshit. And then you see it happen all the way up into the 2000s? Come on. Right. She got targeted from the beginning. Of course she did. Right? I know, right? Where you sign up at? Yeah. You sign up, my newsletter. I don't know. What's the best way to do it, y'all? Anybody got the link? Anybody got the link to the newsletter? You can drop in the chat. One went out this morning. Let me see. Me. Where's me? Here I am. One went out this morning. Let me switch up real quick before I dip. I gotta go. I gotta go. All right. So if you got the newsletter, you could hit view in browser. I can't copy and paste. I would have been did it if I could. But if you click, you click this, click the picture, click here, you can sign up, and we'll be reading that. Please subscribe to the newsletter, y'all. The unsubs. Yo, shout out to all y'all. Thank you before I leave. Thank you to all y'all who have been opening the newsletter. I really appreciate it. Share if you feel inclined, please share the newsletter. It's not always just going to be, it's going to be a lot about the previous live streams. I'm trying to get more eyeballs on the content. I'm trying to steer people to the YouTube channel. I'm going to click on this real quick before I leave. To check in. Good morning. But y'all have been really supportive of the newsletter. I really do hope that y'all start clicking on actual videos within the newsletter. Not y'all, because y'all watch live, but you know what I'm saying. So if you share the newsletter with some people you might find is like-minded. Shout out to Allie. Shout out to all y'all who've been showing me how you've been sharing my content, getting more eyeballs on. If I can get 75 concurrent viewers a day, that's the more immediate goal. I'm stuck around like 20. But if I can get 75 concurrent watchers a day, that'll really, really like lift me up on Twitch. And then if folks can support the YouTube channel, I've rebranded it. It's not Tamika Gadsden anymore. It is the Charleston Activist Network. Only 183 subscribers at the moment. But this is where I put all of the broadcasts. I might not do it that day. I try to get it up by the end of the day. I didn't get to do that, so you can see the last post was 2 days ago. But they will be going up shortly. I have to edit sometimes because of this copyrighted. Sometimes I show a clip of like Nina Simone that was muted on Twitch. If you go back and watch it, the Nina Simone clip or an SNL skit, that'll all be muted or edited out. So other than that, the experience is somewhat the same. You won't see the chat, but hey, if you want to catch up on all the live streams, they're right here on YouTube. You can also go to charlestonactivistnetwork.com. If that's easier for you to bookmark, go here. I often shift these too. You'll see this takes you right to the YouTube here. Also the podcast tab, right? I think this is Instagram right here. Is it Instagram? Yeah. And then the Instagram tab they probably need to work on. I don't know if it works. But yeah, more importantly, mic'd up, the live stream is right here. And you can also watch, you can get the Twitch link right here too. So if you don't want to go through Twitch, the app, you can just go right here. It's linked here on the website as well. Don't tell me you can't find my content. Don't tell me you don't understand Twitch. I'm tired of hearing that. If I told you, what is it? If someone told you, whatever, people get to what they want to get to. Thank you for dropping the link. I appreciate. Thank you for dropping the link to the book club, Joy. Appreciate you. So make sure you, say it with me. I will sign up for Linktree. Put in, okay. Linktree. I got a Linktree. Don't even try it. I got a Linktree. It's on my Instagram. I didn't mean to say it like that. Yes, I did. I got a Linktree, but it's so much content. So if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, you're so silly. Right here in the bio, there's a Linktree right here, right? And in the Linktree is the Twitch, is the Patreon, is the newsletter, is the podcast, is one of my favorite articles that I'm a part of, and an abolitionist toolkit right here. So I have that, and I'll update it shortly. But yeah, I have a Linktree. I just got content all over the place, so I gotta do things. All right, newsletter. I'm one woman organization right now, except for Jared. Jared's in there too. All right, yeah, it's all on Insta. Yeah, now I'll make it more, to that point though, I'll make it more accessible, and put the Linktree link in the newsletter. Yeah. All right, so that's it, y'all. I want to leave it there. Appreciate y'all. See you tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow, we got a guest. Okay, tomorrow we got Dave Infante, writer of All Things Beer. Dave Infante, I gave him a shout out. He saw the interview with Anna. He's like, oh, I heard you gave me a shout out. He saw that we went over his fingers content. So he's coming tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Yeah. So let's end the week right. Tomorrow, 8:30 or 8 o'clock. Come here at 8:30, Dave Infante, face-to-face interview via Zoom. Loving it. Appreciate y'all for holding me down. Thank you for the subscriptions. Australia Fuego, thank you so much for the subscriptions. Thank you for the follows, the bits, everything. Noah, everybody who gave today, who contributed. Thank you, little mama. And yo, if you're a member of the military, I hope you didn't feel like, oh man, I hope you didn't feel that way. If you got a spouse in the military, family member, whatever, veteran yourself, we're talking about these systems. Don't take that shit personal. All right, we're talking about the systems, not you. And if you're part of this community, you know that this is a place of a loving accountability. And so that means everybody gets that, including me. And love on me with some accountability. Hold me accountable. Anything like that. All right, so I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with me. Ooh. Tomorrow going to be extra juicy. Not just the day part. Tomorrow going to be good. Trust me. Tomorrow going to be real good. I might go look. I don't know. I don't want to say nothing. Tomorrow's going to be really good. Please tune in. I ain't going to say no more. All right. Bye. Love y'all.